Hey everyone, Chris of Midlife Crisis Media here. Welcome to the one and only Nintendo 3DS Video Game Collection 2023 live stream. My collection for this console is not all that large. I should probably get into my history with the console. So, if you watch the Nintendo DS Video Game Collection 2023 live streams, at least the first one where I talked about my history with that, the DS came out, was not even remotely interested in it. I thought it looked really gimmicky, kind of like the Wii was. I just didn't have any interest in it. I was like, 2 screens? I mean, like, and you have to use a stylus to play all these games? Like, eventually they moved past that, but I was like, no, I'm not even closely interested, not even remotely. I was out of the handheld market completely at that point. I had no interest in handheld stuff. I'd gotten rid of my Game Boy Advance SP, and I was focusing strictly on the consoles. So the 3DS comes out in the early 2010s. I think it was like 2013 or whatever it was. And I remember like looking at it and saying to myself, wow, Nintendo, definitely not learning from your mistakes. Last time you tried 3D was the Virtual Boy. That flopped hard. So let's just try it again. How about that, shall we? And I was like, this thing is going to be a massive dud. And if I remember correctly, when the 3DS first was released, it was considered a failure. Nobody was buying it. It sold very low. It wasn't until later on that it started to catch on. And I remember at the beginning going like, I was right. Like, I'm glad I'm not buying that thing either, because the 2-screen thing on top of the idea of glasses-less 3D sounds really cool, but I was like, certain 3D movies that were like playing in the theaters at the time, I mean, like, you couldn't even get that right a lot of the time. How are they going to do it without the glasses? I mean, this makes no sense. This is going to suck. And I just completely ignored it at all. Completely. Didn't have any interest in it at all. So, like I said, it was kind of a dud at the beginning. Nobody was buying it. Eventually, it started to gain some traction, and it ended up becoming like a huge hit, like years down the line. Stop freaking texting me. And it surprised the hell out of me when it did take off. So I get back into collecting, and I start watching videos on YouTube and reading reviews of all these games that I've missed since I stopped, the consoles that I had no interest in, including the DS. So I start looking into the DS games, and I'm like, wow, a lot of these, once you get past that whole stylus BS, sound kind of cool. Maybe I might be interested in this. Do I buy a DS? So I start looking into the 3DS just out of curiosity, and there's a lot of cool looking games on that as well. I was not paying attention to any of the reviews of the games that were coming out or anything like that, so I had no clue what was available for it. Start looking at the games for that, find out that the 3DS is backwards compatible with the DS, which makes it fantastic. I think it's like 99.5% compatible with the games that are available. Certain ones, I guess, don't work very well. But I'm like, okay, cool. So if I do intend on getting a console to play like DS games or whatever, the 3DS covers two consoles completely. Therefore, I can collect for two consoles and only have one console needed to play both. That's kind of awesome. So I started being a little more serious about getting into it. Eventually, I think it was like 2014, late 2014. I ended up picking up the Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds edition of the 3DS XL. It was like gold plated. I showed it off in a couple of the videos. I think the initial collection video that I did when I was doing like the edited content stuff, the 3DS/DS pickup video that I did, or collection video that I did, I showed it off quite a bit. It was gold on the top, it was black on the bottom, and if you looked at it in the certain lighting angles, you could see a Triforce etched into it on both sides. It came with a digital code so you can download A Link Between Worlds, which I'd never used because I hate digital games. And what else did I get? Oh, I bought a couple of 3DS games preemptively when I started to seriously consider getting the 3DS. I was actually waiting for a bonus to show up from work to get the 3DS. So I was like buying some of the cheaper games that were on my want list while I was waiting for that check to show up. And when it finally showed up, I tried it out and I was like, wow, you know what? This is actually kind of cool. I have been a fool all this time. All these DS games and 3DS games I bought in advance of getting the handheld were actually really fun. I bought like Glory of Heracles on the DS. Was it a couple of 3DS games? I mostly bought a bunch of DS games that I've been watching and reading reviews of on like YouTube and other websites. So like I started playing these games. I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like I should have just bought one of these things back in the day, and I would have been happy. I would have had all these cool games to play in the meantime. So I kind of missed out, but I'm glad that I bought it when I did. Unfortunately, I bought it when I did because I want to say like a year after I purchased that kind of expensive Legend of Zelda edition, which I ended up paying more for because it had already gone like out of print or whatever, but it was like a limited edition type of thing. And I ended up paying, I think, like $75 more than it was worth just to get it in the box and everything. And it was brand new. They released the new 3DS XL and standard editions, which had like a new controller nub so you can do camera controls and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm enjoying this console so much. Do I do this BS that all these companies are doing now where they release a upgraded version of the console about halfway through its life cycle? Do I fall for it like I did with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? Yeah. Because I was bringing this thing with me to work. I remember I brought it to when I was DJing for that burlesque show back in like 2013, 2014. I would bring it with me as well. So I would play it in between, like during the intermission between like the two shows. So I'd be sitting there playing the 3DS while I was waiting for the next show to begin. And I was using it all the time, and I really, really liked it. So yeah, I made the choice to go ahead and buy the new Nintendo 3DS XL, and I sold, actually I traded off my Legend of Zelda version and got a PlayStation Vita and a crap ton of games off of someone from Facebook. We actually met in person in the parking lot of a Kmart that right where was it 94 and 90 meet? Kind of. It's not there anymore. We met in the parking lot. We exchanged. It looked like a freaking drug deal, if you ask me. I was surprised a cop didn't show up or, stuff like that. or someone came up to us and was like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, we're trading video games at like 10:30 at night." You know, it looks sketchy. But I ended up trading that away, getting a Vita in exchange, and I got this. And this is the new Nintendo 3DS XL that I bought. And it is pretty fantastic. I mean, I didn't think that the glassesless 3D was going to be worth a damn, to be honest. And it was pretty good on the Legend of Zelda version, like the original version that I had. It was pretty good, but it has like these two cameras in the front above the top screen that track your eyes. So if you move your head a little bit, it'll like see that you're moving, and it'll kind of like move the 3D with you a little bit sometimes. It works, and sometimes it doesn't work. It was like very iffy if you would get it to consistently be okay. There are times where I'd be playing a game and I wouldn't be moving my head, also the 3D would kind of like shift a little bit. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't move, and it would be detecting something else in the room, like a lighting change or something. And that was improved on this. You can see it even says super stable 3D. It worked a lot better on this, I will admit. This also has the amiibo support built into it because that was starting to become a thing when this came out. It has, like I said, the C stick, which is like a little nub that allows you to control the camera in certain games. I think it was mostly because they were releasing Xenoblade Chronicles on the console, and you needed that to play the game, so they had added that. And it has a faster processor to play the more advanced games that were going to be coming out, like I said, Xenoblade Chronicles. They released a couple, I think, of special editions. Oh my God, freaking stop texting me. Should have turned my phone off before I started streaming. I don't remember how many like special editions, like the Legend of Zelda edition I had of the previous version of this, were released for the new Nintendo 3DS, but they only released two colors at the start. It was a black and a red. And I remember the day that it was released, I went to the local Target, and they only had one color available. So I bought it because I was like, you know what, fine, it's no big deal. So I picked it up, and it was the completely black version. I still have a game in here. What was I playing last? Metroid Returns. Spoiler alert. So yeah, I bought the black version, and here it is. And I've gotten quite a lot of use out of this. I absolutely love it. The thumbstick up here is fantastic. The D-pad is a little like stiff, I guess. And so is the C stick over here, but I think it's actually really comfortable in the hands. Using the shoulder buttons is not uncomfortable. I don't have to like wrench my fingers in weird positions. The lighting controls and everything are pretty fantastic. The 3D I will say is pretty improved over the previous version, and you can even take like 3D photos with the two cameras that are on the top of the back here. It's a really fantastic system. I really, really like it. And I always have, as you can see, you have these two sliders here next to the top screen. You have one over here that's volume, and the one over here is for how in depth you want the 3D to go. And I always have it at max. And there are some games that use the 3D so freaking well that like it blew my mind that I'm sitting there going like, I'm not wearing glasses, and I'm playing this thing that looks amazing in 3D on the damn crapper. It was blowing my freaking mind half the time. So love it, absolutely love it. Do I have games in here? Yes, I do. I should probably take these out of this carrying case that I have for my 3DS for when I travel. And I remember I brought this with me when I went to visit the Game Grinder in Minnesota. Was it last? No, it was 2 years ago. The first year that I went was 2021, and that's when I flew, and I brought this with me on my trip, and I played through Batman the Brave and the Bold on the DS on this while I was waiting for my plane going there and coming back, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I bought this hard case carrying case for the 3DS, and it works fantastic, and it's really compact, unlike the one I have for my Switch, which is bulky as all hell. And this is definitely, you can see where the influences for the Switch came from when you look at this. It's like this was the warm-up for what the Switch ended up becoming. And I like this console so much. This is also, out of all the consoles I collect for outside of the PS4, I think I have the most amount of like special edition or limited edition games for this console, because I have a stack of like big off-sized boxes for games for this console. I have so many. So before we get into the games, let me get a little drinky drink. It's been a long day at work. I haven't had anything to eat today except a freaking Snickers bar. So I'm a little hungry, and I'm probably going to start rambling because I have low energy. Like last week, I watched a little bit of last week's stream, and I apologize for anyone that was watching that. I was so low energy because I had nothing to eat that day. I felt bad. Today is not going to be the case because I made sure that I got some caffeine in me before we started. So let's get into the games. We're going to start off with one that is a special, like, limited edition, and that is Adventure Time. Explore the Dungeon, because I don't know the collector's edition, and I'm not sure what the name of this Game Boy looking thing is because I've never really watched Adventure Time. I've seen an episode here or there, but I don't think it had anything to do with this character. But it is a Legend of Zelda style adventure slash like action RPG, where it's like you're just dungeon crawling, but it's from the perspective like of an old Legend of Zelda game. And it came in this steelbook case with that character on it, which is kind of cool. It's like modeled after a Game Boy, but the buttons are all weird. And it's alive, and it's sentient. And you open it up, and it comes with a few things outside of the game. You have this Finn and Jake's Dungeon Guide, which is like... to me, it looks like an old D&D Dungeon Master's manual. It has like the stats of the weapons and the things that you're going to find. I think that's kind of funny nowadays because I play D&D now. It also has this disc of bonuses, which has actor interviews, storyboards, cinematics, and concept art all on a DVD. No soundtrack, though, which is kind of a bummer. And it even has this like slip that goes over the steelbook. And normally people would throw this away, but it doesn't tell you what the game is on the spine. So I keep this so I know what it is when I see it sitting on the shelf. That right there, and the game itself is right here. And like I said, I played this briefly, but not on the 3DS. I played this on the Wii U. And I want to say that I bought this a couple of times because WayForward developed all of these Adventure Time games that came out during this time period. So my goal was to get all of the WayForward style game, or the WayForward games. So I was buying multiple copies of the same one just for other consoles and all that, and not really giving a crap because they were super cheap. I didn't care. But yeah, I'd have 2 copies of this game, and I'm probably going to get the PS3 one too because I'm dumb. And this one came with one of the few games that came with a manual. Awesome. It's a fun game. I don't know the lore of the show that this is based on. So licensed game, obviously. This is a Cartoon Network show. I don't really know the lore, so a lot of the jokes and references were like going over my head when I was playing it, and it kind of turned me off a little bit, but it was fun, so I didn't mind. Next up I still have not played this, but I have played the other games in this franchise, but I don't think this works the same way, because I think this is a side-scroller instead of a 3D third-person game. And that is Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. So this is like a spin-off of Arkham Origins, which was available on the consoles of the time. So this is PS3 and 360, and eventually the Wii U. And those games, like I said, are 3D action adventure third person, like beat 'em up type games. This console. So I said during the DS live streams that the DS is essentially a handheld Nintendo 64. The graphic capabilities, like the max they could do, was like what you were playing on a Nintendo 64. This is like playing a portable GameCube. The SSD drives, I guess, that are inside the cartridges here can hold video, like a lot of it, and voice and everything. So there's some really like cool things that this console can do on top of the 3D. But I guess like a full-on like open world 3D, first like third-person action game was kind of out of the question. So they ended up turning this into a side-scrolling beat-em-up, but it still plays by the same rules of the Arkham games. You can see that you're doing like the bat vision in one of these stills. And I have not played it, but I hear it's actually not too bad. It's not the best game in the Arkham series, but it's actually kind of fun and different. So I do want to sit down and play through it. I might actually just bring my 3DS to work and start playing through some of these games just so I can have something to do and have something to show for when it comes to this collection. Like I have all these games sitting here and I'm not playing them. This was one of the games that convinced me that I needed a 3DS, and that was when 3DS, because this is a 3DS game. I seriously started considering getting one because I was so excited about this, and that is Bravely Default. So this is a Square Enix JRPG, and it's very reminiscent of like an old Final Fantasy game. It was they were calling it like it was going back to basics. And that kind of like really got me going because I really like the old school RPGs. Like my favorite RPG is Final Fantasy IV on the Super Nintendo. And they were saying that this was like taking after those types of games. It wasn't going to be like one of these new ones where it's all anime characters, even though it is, and stuff like that. And like not open world, but like the way the Final Fantasy games were going in this direction, like in Final Fantasy 15 and 16. Where it was kind of like a third-person game now, and you're running around. Even the remake of Final Fantasy VII this was like a old school throwback JRPG, and I was like, I need that in my life. And I played this a good amount, and I really, really enjoyed myself. And then like because I'm collecting for a new console now, of course, I'm buying all these games at once to try to start building up a collection. I just got sidetracked, and I have not gone back to it. I probably should. I'm probably gonna have to start over because the last time I played this was probably 2014. But it's a fantastic JRPG. I absolutely loved it. I love the characters. I love the way the combat worked and all that. I was totally in, but I never finished it, which is kind of sad. But it didn't stop me from buying Bravely Second End Layer, which is kind of like DLC for that. It's a separate game, but it just continues like I guess right where that leaves off and keeps on going with the story because we eventually got Bravely Default 2. So completely different thing. This one is directly connected to that, and it's apparently more of the same. Like the game was just too big; it had to be split into two, kind of thing. So I need to beat that in order to play this, which is sad. But like I said, I'll eventually do it. I could be wrong. If I am wrong about Bravely Second being like a continuation, let me know. Like I said, I haven't played it. I'm just going by what I remember when it came out. This I have played so much. So damn much. I absolutely loved it. But I did not beat it, which is kind of stupid, which is why I think I had it in. Yep, I did. I had it in the carrying case. I brought it with me to Church's joint because I wanted to keep playing it, but I ended up focusing on Batman Brave and the Bold. That is Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. So it is a Metroidvania, duh. It is a, I guess, spinoff of Lords of Shadow. That was the console versions of Castlevania that was available for the PS3 and the 360 at the time. And I played this quite a bit. I want to say I probably got like 40% through it, and I was really digging it. This has some of the best 3D on the console, bar none. I remember like turning, like at the beginning, when I first got the console, I was using the lowest setting because I didn't want it to just be like this, oh, look, this giant depth of field thing. Like I need to acclimate to it somehow. So I would start at the lowest setting on certain games, and then as I was playing it, I would just up it a little bit as I go until I had it at the full blast. And this one, I accidentally had it already set to full blast when I booted up because I was playing another game before this that I was using full blast for, which I'll talk about in a bit because it's fantastic. And I didn't mind because it looks fantastic in 3D. It is so much fun. It's like I said, side-scrolling Metroidvania. I absolutely love it. The music in this game sounds like it comes off of a disc. It is so good. I have the soundtrack on my hard drive. It is so good. I absolutely love it. Still haven't played this one. It's completely sealed, but I picked this one up at GameStop, and I think brand new it was like $5 because this was like a huge bomb. And I think like a few months after it came out, it was already heavily discounted. And I remember I went to a GameStop and in fact to look for an specific Xbox One game. It was the Duke Nukem Anniversary Collection thing. It has like the original version of Duke Nukem on it. And I saw this sitting there and it was like $5 brand new. And I was like, oh, for $5, I don't care if it's garbage. I'm buying it. And I've seen some reviews of it and I hear it's actually not too bad. Oh my God. I never peeled off that sticker. But it is codename Steam. And I do believe this is a strategy type of game, like XCOM, where everybody's like steampunk. But I have not played it. You can even see you got Steampunk Abe Lincoln right there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's still sealed. I have not even opened it, so I need to play it. But I know some people, and I hear there's actually Lovecraftian stuff in here too. That was the thing. When I did the initial pickup video of this back in the beginning of my channel, one of my friends saw it and was like, "Yeah, that game is actually really cool. I don't care what the reviews say, and it has all this Lovecraftian stuff in it you're gonna love." And I was like, "All right, fine, I'll play it." Just never got around to it. I will eventually, like I always say, but when that happens. Okay, so this is funny. So I used to work at a Kmart when I was in high school, and I had not been to one since the one that I worked at closed in, I want to say, 2002 or 2003, something like that. I think 2002-ish. And I hadn't been in one in like a decade or whatever. So the word starts to spread that there is a game on the market that can jailbreak your 3DS. Like, you can use it to hack your 3DS and install like a homebrew channel and some other channel. I don't remember what it was. And this game, which is like this budget title crap, all of a sudden like went from being like $2 to being worth like $100. And I was like, what is going on? I start looking it up because I remember one of the YouTubers I was watching was talking about like, why is this game going up in price so hard? Like, what's going on with it? And I look it up and I find out about this whole using the game to hack your 3DS. And I was like, oh, I might want to do that. Didn't actually do it because the game is still sealed. And you'd have gotten your 3DS if you had, like, what is it called? Registered it or whatever. You could have gotten it deactivated or whatever. Like, you wouldn't be able to use the Nintendo store if you did, because they would detect that you had hacked your console, and you would get blocked from, I think, using the store. So I actively went out looking for it, and I found it at this Kmart, the same one where I did that deal for the Vita for my Legend of Zelda 3DS. And it was, I think, $14.99 or $12.99. You can kind of still see it on the label here because it didn't. No, $14.99. And I was like, that's definitely better than $100 or whatever the hell it was going for at the time. So I ran over there and picked it up. I didn't find it there online like that store has it. I remember I was going to every store in the area, and I was like, I'll try that Kmart on the way home from work today. And there it was. And that is Cubic Ninja. And it is like this weird Meat Boy-esque platformer, I guess, where it's all about just like it's like a puzzle platformer. And yeah, $14.99. And nobody gave a crap about this game. And then all of a sudden it's worth $100 because you can use an exploit in it to hack your console. So I picked it up and I never actually did the hacking because, like, right after I bought this, I'm going to say like 3 days after I bought this, I hear that Nintendo was like blocking people from using the Nintendo store if you actually did use this to hack your console. And I was like, well, I might want to buy some DLC on the damn thing. So that's probably not a good idea, but I'll keep it just in case. And like nowadays it wouldn't matter. Like I could do it right now. And since it's offline, the store is gone for this console, it's no big deal. But like at this point also, what is the point of doing that? But yeah, I bought a copy of it, never actually opened it because I was a chicken shit. Whatevs. This one I bought on Metal Jesus' recommendation, and I kind of didn't like it. That is Dream Trigger 3D. So this is it's like playing Star Fox if you were sitting in the cockpit, but it's all about using the 3D and the stylus in weird ways. And it's like this weird hand holding the console in one hand and using the stylus in the other kind of combination thing that kind of like broke my brain because I'm naturally a lefty. And like the combination of things, like when they expect you to hold the stylus with your right hand specifically, that's where gaming breaks my brain. I did a review on my channel a long time ago. I highly recommend you go and check it out. It was the review of Wild Wild West on the DS. That was one of the games that requires you to use your right hand for the stylus. There is no option to swap the sides of the console that you can do things on. You absolutely had to use the right hand. And with using precision with my right hand, it's like I'm Michael J. Fox, and it's just like I can't do anything precision with it at all. My left hand, absolutely fine, but my hand, when I'm trying to do something, my hand is shaking and all that. It's crazy. So playing this was not that fun for me, and probably was fun for him because he's a natural righty. More power to you guys that are righties, but I am not. So it was not all that fun, but it's basically like flying into the screen, and you use the oh my god, I just had it and I lost it. The stylus. You use the stylus to like point where you want to shoot, and I just could not do it. So it kind of broke my head. But the graphics are really cool, and the 3D works really well, but just I could not play it like well. So I kind of sucked at it, but I kept it because, eventually I might want to like practice at it and try to get good at it. When that'll happen, I don't know. Found this, I think, of all places, at a Walgreens. Like, it was an impulse buy thing on top of the register when I was like checking out buying toilet paper and stuff. And I saw this sitting there, and I was just kind of like, okay, why not? And it was like $10. So that's Epic Mickey Power of Illusion. Epic Mickey was a series that started on the Wii, and I think this is the last game in the series that we got. There was like 2 or 3 games in the series, and it's a 3D platformer where you're playing as Mickey Mouse, and you have a paintbrush as a weapon. I think you can paint your way out of situations, if that's what I'm thinking is correct. I don't remember. No, this is a side-scrolling platformer. The console versions are the 3D platformers. But I have not played this. I opened it up to try it out, and I just never actually like got into it very far, which is kind of sucky, but whatever. But I enjoyed what I played of the Epic Mickey game, the first one on the Wii, so I'll get to it eventually. This is one of those games that I picked up. Do I have a special edition of that? No, I don't. No. This is one of the games I picked up off of one of those sales or clearance sales on the Square Enix website. I've been talking about it this entire series. I got like Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, DS games, tons of DS games, which I ended up trading in at Mo Game Con that were still sealed for a really expensive Super Nintendo game. What other consoles? I got some stuff for the PS4. And obviously the 3DS. So that was Final Fantasy Explorers. I have not played this because it is still sealed, but I'm assuming it's just another Final Fantasy, like standalone Final Fantasy style game. But you can see Cloud standing there. So I don't know. I have not played it. It's still sealed. Battle together with up to 4 players. Over 20 jobs to explore and master iconic Final Fantasy characters and monsters. Explore a new world, adventure solo or together with 2 to 4 player co-op. Sure. I'll play it eventually. Next up is like one of the first games I bought. I think it was right after this came out was when I got the console, and I made sure to jump on it as soon as I could because I had learned really quickly that these games become really hot commodities later on, and everybody wants a copy of them when their time is gone, like when their time is over in the spotlight. That is Fire Emblem Awakening. This is the tactical RPG series, and every console has every Nintendo console has at least one game in this franchise. And after that console dies, the game goes through the roof price-wise, and they're all really expensive. So I made sure to jump on this when I could. And I played it a little bit. I want to say I played it for like a good hour and a half, and I was like, wow, I actually think I like this franchise. I'd never played one before this. So I actually started actively looking for the other games in the franchise and was like, wow, they are really expensive. This is going to take some doing. And I think at this point in time, I only have 3 mainline games in the franchise and 1 kind of spin-off game for the franchise. But I really liked what I played, so it made me want to play the others, which is a good thing. Here's another one that I picked up. I think this is the last game that I bought for this console when it was still in stores, like when the console was still being actively sold in like retail stores. And I remember I went to a bunch of Targets, like by my work and by my home, because Target seemed to be the only place that still had these games in stock, and they were heavily discounting them because the console was dying because the Switch had come out, and had basically replaced the 3DS as their handheld console. So 3DS was not getting support anymore. All the games that the store still had in stock were just heavily discounted just to get them the hell out of there. And I went looking for ones that I did not have or ones that I would actually want from all these other stores. And I only found, hey, Pikmin. I really like the Pikmin franchise. This is still sealed as well. You can see. I really like the Pikmin series. It's like really fun strategies type game where you have all these different colored like plant creatures that follow you around, and you order them to do battle with other creatures. And the more that you find, the bigger your army gets, the more like the larger the creatures you can attack with them are. You have to solve environmental puzzles and stuff like that. Different colored Pikmin do different things and stuff like. I think the last time I played the third one, it had the little black ones that look like a piece of coal, and they're like really heavy and can't be like knocked around or something like that, if I remember right. But it's been a while since I played that too. But playing it on the go just sounded super freaking cool. So when I saw this sitting there discounted for like $15, I was like, give it to me. I'll take it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't remember reading any reviews for it, but I didn't care. I was like, just give it to me. Here is the first special edition I bought for this console. This is the first one of the first in the first batch of games that I bought before I even had the console in my hand. And I really wanted it because it was a long overdue return for this character. I've been calling for a return for this character, this franchise, forever. And I was like, it took how long? The last game came out for the NES, and then it took the 3DS. The 3DS was when the next one came out. I'm like, that's ridiculous. We should have had 30 games in this franchise. And that's Kid Icarus Uprising. So this game is designed kind of weird. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but the way you have to play it is strange, and I'm not sure that I appreciate it. So what I'm talking about is it is a third-person, like, Star Fox style game, I guess is the best way to describe it. And it requires this device that it comes with. That's why it actually comes with this oversized box. This is a stand. Let's see if I can remember how to set it up. Yep. So it stands up like this. You can see that it's got like this tab right here. The 3DS rests on that. And it's because you're supposed to play the game hands-free. You shouldn't really be touching the console because it's all about, well, you have to touch the console, but the way you have to use the stylus would not work if you were holding it in your hand. So this is to hold the console for you so you can use your other hand for the buttons on the right side of the console and use the stylus to attack on the screen. It's really weird. Like I said, I like it and I don't like it at the same time. Like, why couldn't you just made a kind of throwback to like the way the Game Boy and the NES version work, just in 3D? That would have been super cool. I would have like been over the moon just for that. But I mean, I also give them credit for not trying to just repeat themselves all the time. But as far as I'm concerned, it just didn't pay off very well. It wasn't implemented very well because the controls are very strange, like I said. So I like it, but I don't like it because it's just strange. And it requires like a lot of like brain power to get used to what you're doing. If I can actually get this freaking tab in here, you wiener, get in there. Fuck you. Whatever. But the graphics are fantastic. Yuzo Koshiro does the music for it, which is awesome. His music, I will always say, is amazing. And you can get tons of upgrades and stuff, so it is more than just what the original two games were. This is like a whole new style of game for this character, which is kind of cool. At the same time, I'm like, eh. So, and this is also, I thought, was kind of neat. So you open it up, and you got those little holes in the plastic packaging, and you can see a bunch of different like emotions for Pit's face. And I think that's supposed to be Palutena down here at the bottom. That's just really cool and clever packaging. I really liked it. The game is okay, not what I wanted in a Kid Icarus game, but I'm just happy we got another one. And it's probably gonna be like another 30 years until we get another one, which I hope does not happen. This one is another one that I picked up at a sale at Target when they were clearancing everything out. I got this at a completely different Target. That is Kirby's Triple Deluxe, and you can see I still have the label on it. I got this for $17.15. Sure, I should probably peel that off. And I have not played it. It's still sealed. Come on. This label's so old, it's just like shredding. You can do it. Come on. People are watching. The audience doesn't want to see this shit. Why am I even doing it then? I don't know. Oh, man. There we go. Get a better look at the artwork. There you go. Kirby's Triple Deluxe. I'm assuming it's just another standard side-scrolling Kirby game. Kirby has a bunch of different power-ups that, you know, he inhales the bad guys and inherits their power. So it looks fun. I like Kirby games, and I also was happy that I was able to find this one really cheap because just like those Fire Emblem games, Kirby games seem to bounce up in price like almost like what? Not even a year after they're released for some reason. There's a bunch that I missed out on this console and for the Switch. And I think I have the one on the Wii U. But like there are so many Kirby games out there and they are kind of pricey last time I checked. So here is one of the expensive special editions that I bought. I do nothing about this game except that I think it's connected to Trials of Cold Steel. It's connected to another franchise, even though it's not in the name. If anyone's in anyone's watching knows what this is, what franchise this is connected to, I cannot really remember. I think it's Trials of Cold Steel, but I'm probably wrong. I think. No, that's Xseed. How can that be when this is an Atlas game? This is a spin-off from an existing franchise that Atlas does, and that is Legend of Legacy. So I was trying to get RPGs for this console pretty early on because I was like, look, I can play them on the go. I can fill in like gaps in my time when I'm doing absolutely nothing by playing an RPG. So a long-form style of game was like really appealing for me for this console. So I was trying to buy all these RPGs and stuff, and lo and behold, I never actually sat down and put any major amount of time into them because that's me. But I ended up buying off of Amazon this special edition, or is it the limited edition? I'm not sure. I think it's like a limited edition. But it comes with a bunch of things, which is why it's in this gigantic freaking box, like a hardcover art book, which actually looks more like a manual, even though it does have art book type things going on in it, which is kind of cool. And it also comes with a 10-track CD sampler of the soundtrack, which is cool. I have not opened this yet because I think I found the soundtrack digitally online. Yeah, it's still sealed up here. So I didn't have to open it. So if I ever felt like I needed to sell this at any point, I wouldn't have to. I'd get more money for it because I hadn't opened anything. Derp, and I gotta put all this crap back. And like I said, I bought this because I wanted to play some RPGs on the go. So I buy this expensive box set, and I still haven't even opened the damn thing. Like I said, if anyone in the audience knows, anyone watching knows what franchise that belongs to Alice, this game belongs to, because it's, like I said, it's a spin-off of an existing franchise. Is it part of Persona? Because there's like a little frog guy down there, and that looks really familiar. But I know it's part of a franchise. It's just a spin-off. But whatever. I need to play through that because I hear it's actually pretty damn good. And then the game that came with my original 3DS digitally, that was one of the reasons why the person who traded me for the Vita was really interested, was because I had not redeemed the code for the digital version of this game when I traded it to him. He was happy that he could actually play it. And that is Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This is an exclusive game for this console. And this is the one where you like turn into like rock paintings or something, and you can control them to like move along rocks and stuff like that to like get to areas you normally can't get to. But outside of that, it's like your standard, 2.5 or is it 3/4 view Legend of Zelda game. And I hear it's actually pretty fantastic, and it's not Toon Link, which makes me very happy on the inside. You can see you got standard ass Link right there. What's up, bros? And I love that it has like this metallic cover, and you can see one of the paintings on the other side of that wall. You can like become part of the wall and become the painting and actually like shimmy along it to get to other areas and stuff, which is pretty cool. I need to play that one. I've been meaning to play that for the longest freaking time. And also, this was the console that had a bunch of remasters of older Zelda games, like Majora's Mask 3D. And this I put on my games of the year, whatever year this came out, 2014, 2015 maybe, because I had never really played this on the Nintendo 64 because I hate the Nintendo 64. So I was like, well, this will definitely be the way to do it. It's in 3D. It's been remastered slightly. I'll give it a shot. And I was playing it, and I was really enjoying how different it was from all the other Zelda games out there with the time limit thing and the whole day and night cycle and all that. I was like, that's really cool and interesting. Like, they decided to do something outside of the box. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it didn't bother me at all. And I was like, I wish I kind of did play this on the 64, even though I probably would have hated it. I wouldn't have hated the game. I just hate that I'm playing it on the Nintendo 64. But yeah, it's basically the exact same engine used as Ocarina of Time, but now it's like a darker style game. The moon is going to crash into the world or into Hyrule, and you need to, or what is it? It's not even Hyrule in this one, is it? Mid something? I don't remember the name of it. It's been a while. But yeah, the moon's going to crash into the planet and destroy everything, and then it's like Groundhog Day. You just keep reliving the same day, and you learn from what you did the previous day, and you can do it faster. It's really cool. I liked it a lot. The whole mechanic of it and the masks and everything was really rad. This one is still sealed. I got this when I was at Gen Con at the GameStop that's in the mall connected to the convention center. And like I said, that was the second year where I was looking there. I went there looking for games, and they didn't really have a whole lot. But I was like, okay, fine. I'll just go to that GameStop and see what they have. And I found Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. This is kind of like a spin-off of Four Swords Adventures, where it's like a multiplayer Zelda game, and you do like the wireless link thing with other people in the area, and you can play together through the dungeons and stuff. And that sounded really fun. I was like, I have a fun multiplayer game. I really like Four Sword Adventures, so why the hell not? I just never got around to playing it. But I got it pretty cheap. And then we also have the remake of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, and I found this at the disc replay place that I used to talk about, that being near my work. I remember I walked in there one day, and they usually didn't have anything Zelda related. Like that stuff, I can imagine just like they would come in, and the moment it would hit the shelf, it would go right back out. And I got there, I guess, right after they had put this out, and it didn't have. That store was also notorious, especially when it came to 3DS games and DS games. For the cases, they just got like the cartridge by itself in a trade. So they make like a fake artwork cover, and they have a bunch of 3DS cases or DS cases in the back, and they just slip this like printed out cover, thinking that it'll just nobody will know. It's obvious. But I was glad that this was the OG. And yeah, I played this quite a bit on the Nintendo 64, got stuck. Never went back to it because I think I soft locked myself in the game for some reason, and I just never went back to it. And I was like, well, this will be the way to play it now because it's a little bit remastered. It's in 3D. Why not? And it also comes with this: celebrate 25 years of The Legend of Zelda as Nintendo embarks on a year of Zelda events, activities, and games. So it has like the Zelda 25th anniversary slip in it, which is kind of cool. I'm glad that's still in there because that's part of this package. So that's kind of rad. And then I remember everybody talking about like the Wii U version of this game got like really expensive out of nowhere. And I remember this I got at the same time I got that Triforce Heroes, the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll pick it up and see if it's worth playing. And it's Lego City Undercover. So the standard Lego City Undercover was the one on the Wii U that got like really pricey. This is like the spin-off. It's The Chase Begins. And it's like a Grand Theft Auto Lego game, which is bizarre to me. It's an open world Lego game like Grand Theft Auto. These games exist. Yes, they do. Get a drinky drink. This I picked up at a GameStop randomly. Do I not have a bigger box for this? Do I? Yeah, I do. I knew I did. So yeah, I remember the thing was they had a copy of this game without the outer box. And then they also had the version that came in the like limited edition box or whatever it is. And they were the exact same price. So I'm sitting there going like, why would I buy the one that doesn't come with the extra materials when the one that does is the exact same price? I'm like, I'm buying the one with the outer box. And that's what I did. That is Lord of Magna Made in Heaven. And this is I do believe, an RPG. Bowl over hordes of enemies in strategic turn-based combat. Fully animated cutscenes enhance this epic tale. And this comes with, this is the only thing that it comes with, is the original soundtrack. But it doesn't tell you how many tracks it has. Oh, yeah, it does on the box. Includes exclusive music soundtrack CD with 28 tracks. And I have not opened that, so I can't comment. Because at this time, I'm like, oh, look, all these RPGs will be really fun to play on the go at work when I'm sitting at my desk, not doing anything. Instead of surfing the web, I can play some games or something and, make some progress on this backlog. Because it's still sealed. Which is stupid. I should probably see how much this is worth and see if I can sell it off or something, because I don't know when I'm going to find time to play it. But it looks cool. It really does. It's just never... I don't know. Never got a chance to play it. This is another game that I've had inside the carrying case. I'll put it back while I'm here. And that is, I never thought this this series would take off, because the one that came out, the first game in the franchise, like, people hated it when it first was released. Like, this is like a brand new Nintendo console's launching, and this is the Mario game we get with it, is this. And I remember everybody, when the GameCube first came out, absolutely hated this game. But now it's like this beloved classic. And I finally played through it, and I was like, yeah, it is actually really fun. It's just different, but different's not bad. Different is good, especially when it comes to like those new Super Mario, new Super Mario Brothers games where they try to go back to the well, and I don't think they're that fun. But we're talking Luigi's Mansion. I do believe this is part 2 in the series. And then we got another one on the Switch, which is the third one. I think it's just Luigi's Mansion 3. But Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is more of the same from what the first one was. Luigi's going around with that vacuum cleaner attached to his back, sucking up ghosts and solving environmental puzzles with, trying to suck them up into the vacuum. I played this briefly after I had finished the GameCube version. And I was like, that was really fun. It was short. It was like, I want to say maybe a 4-hour game. I'm like, but I enjoyed myself to the point where I was like, I think I need to try out the 3DS version. I played this for maybe like 15, 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'll come back to it. Still haven't done it. Nope. But it looks pretty awesome. I need to get into that at some point. And then we have Mario and Luigi Dream Team. This is like their Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG spinoff that has nothing to do with Square Enix. I think because Square Enix helped develop Super Mario RPG with Nintendo, that then the contract broke or whatever. Like they didn't do another game together again, but they wanted to keep making these like Mario RPGs, so that turned into the Mario and Luigi series on the Game Boy Advance, I think is where it started, and it continues here. Have not played this one because I still need to beat the ones on the Game Boy Advance, but I wanted to get these before the price went up, so I picked them up, and it looks pretty fun. And then this game, I played I played the Wii one probably the most. The first one in this franchise I ever played was on the Nintendo DS, and then the Wii one I started playing. I was like, that was great. And then I started playing this one. I was like, this is awesome. I cannot wait to see like the next game. And the next game in the franchise is the one that is the most popular out of them all now. Like people are still playing it online. That's Mario Kart 7. Never played Mario Kart before. I played the one on the DS. That was one of the first games I got on the DS. And I was like, oh, I can finally see what everyone's been whining about. What's this franchise like? Let's try this out. And holy crap, that game blew my freaking mind. And it's, like I said, a portable Nintendo 64. I'm like, I would have loved the Nintendo 64 version I bet back in the day. Never played it, though. But this is like the the GameCube version. It's not Double Dash, it's its own thing, but it's pretty freaking fantastic. And it basically lays the groundwork for Mario Kart 8, which, like I said, is now the most popular one ever because it is a huge, monumental game. But like everything that's in here is what, like I said, laid the groundwork for Part 8. Like if you wouldn't have had Part 8 if you didn't have part of this one. But like I said, all the mechanics and stuff from that is what made Part 8 great. They just made them better in Part 8. Had to buy this because trying to get every game in the franchise. Lasai. And that is Metroid Prime Federation Force. So I remember when they announced this, it was during like that Nintendo World Championship thing that they brought back in like 2015 or 2016 or whatever the hell it was. And I remember Ego Raptor was like one of the final contestants. And they were like, oh, hey, for one of the games that you have to play in the finals is like this unreleased mini game because this game hadn't hit the market yet. They're like this mini game from Metroid Prime Federation Force. It was like Blast Ball or something. And they're like, yeah, everyone has to play it now, even though you've never seen it or heard it or touched it before. Like no one's really played it yet, like publicly. Have at it. And like I think this is where Ego Raptor got his ass whooped because he was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. But this one is just like a multiplayer, like not XCOM, what do they call it? Battlefront, I guess, type of game. That's not what Metroid's about. Metroid has to do with Samus taking on the Metroids and Mother Brain, and there's Metroids all over the place and all that. Like where's Zeebs? Where's all this stuff? No, this is like this unrelated thing that they knew was not going to sell. Like Nintendo knew it was not going to sell, and they were like, "Oh, quick, slap the Metroid Prime name on it, and it'll help it sell copies from name recognition alone." And no, this did not sell at all because I got this for like $5 brand new. You can see it's still sealed. I have absolutely no interest in playing this. It's like 2 different mini games in there, and that's it. I have no interest at all, which is why I'm never going to play it. But I had to have it in order to finish off the series collection, get the subset, which I do have a complete subset of right now. Anyway, next up we have the other Metroid game that came out on the 3DS, and that is this special edition of Metroid Samus Returns. This is a remake/reboot of Metroid 2, which is probably my least favorite Metroid game. And I think this makes it so much better, even though I did get stuck in this as well. Normally, I do pretty good with Metroidvania type games. But man, this game, like, I am still stuck in it. I do not know what I'm doing wrong or where I need to go. I'm like, I think I soft locked myself somehow. But this special edition, I was an idiot. I did not pre-order this. So what I ended up doing was, did I get this off of eBay? I think I got this off of eBay. But I found some guy that hadn't like jacked up the price horrendously. I got it for a decent price. I just don't remember what, because that was a while ago. But I wanted to get this version because not only is the metallic embossed box pretty freaking rad, but I love my video game music, and I wanted to get that Metroid Samus Returns soundtrack. And this has how many tracks? Couldn't tell you because the font on this is so damn small. But I haven't opened that yet. But I played the crap out of this game, and it is a fantastic Metroidvania game. Way better than Part 2, if you ask me. It included this, like, reaction mechanic where, like, the enemy, before it attacks you, it'll, like, flash, and then it'll charge you. And if you hit the button at the right time, if you hit the attack button at the right time, you'll do, like a counter move to dizzy the creature. And, like, the first shot you hit, it's like a one-hit kill. Boom. Instead of actually just, like, pummeling it or pummeling the enemy with laser beams or whatever, like shots, it was like a one-hit kill. Boom. It's really cool. I remember talking to Nintendo about it. He couldn't grasp that concept. Like, it was so foreign to him. He was like, I don't think I like the game because I don't like that counter thing. I'm like, dude, I'm embracing the hell out of it. I think it's super fun. The music is fantastic. The graphics are great. The 3D is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's a great Metro game. Like I said, way better than what I think the original version of Part 2 was. Here's the game itself. No actual gameplay on the back, but it has that cool shot of her ship. Really fantastic. I love it. And I need to put that back in here. Boom. And we're about halfway done tonight. We're at an hour already. That's cool. This is probably the most impressive game in my collection that when it comes to the 3D. I highly recommend that if you have a 3DS, when I'm done with this stream or while I'm still talking, I don't care. Just find it somehow. Go online and buy a copy of this like immediately. This game is so cool. And it's called Nano Assault. It's by this company called Shinen. And they've released a handful of games like, I do believe, Nano Stray on the game Nintendo DS. Those shmups that are pretty fantastic. And then Iridian on the Game Boy Advance. There's 2 Iridian games. And they decided to create what I said was, I think, the most impressive 3D on this console. So what the game is, and trying to sum up this game in like a couple of sentences, especially like on one of those shorts that I do, is almost impossible. So it's kind of like playing Fantastic Voyage or Inner Space, the game. So you're this dude who's in this ship and you get shrunk because like there's these experiments that are going on where you're trying to like cultivate these cells to combat a disease, but like there's this like competing company is trying to destroy the work that you guys have done and has created these miniaturized enemies to destroy all these cells that you're working on. And your job is to get shrunk down, travel along all these cells and destroy all these enemies that are trying to destroy the work that you've done. And it's like a twin stick shooter. And it is so good because the cells that you're on are like spheres and weird shapes. And as you're traveling along them, your ship stays stationary in the center of the screen. But the environment is the thing that's rotating as you move and twisting and turning and undulating sometimes. And when you're looking at it in like full-on 3D, it looks like it is so cool. It is so realistic, but the way that it works, like the depth of field and everything, it looks so freaking rad. And I could not stop playing it, and I ended up beating it. It is so damn fun. I highly recommend everybody get a copy of this if you like twin stick shooters and play it with the full 3D on. It is so good. Anyone who's watching, come on, talk to me. Tell me something. What's going on? How are you tonight? How you feeling? I didn't mean to copy John Riggs' little motto right there. Talk to me. Tell me something. Let's chit-chat. Do not like this franchise at all. What's up, TJ? You can't make me... Oh. How's it going, TJ? It's like, I just want to chat with people and nobody's talking to me. So, New Super Mario Brothers 2. I do not like this version of this franchise. I thought it sounded kind of cool when the first game came out on the Wii, and I talked about this during the Wii streams, that like the idea of it sounded cool. It's like this 4-player multiplayer throwback Mario game. And then I play it, and I'm like, why does it play so goddamn slow? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, the original NES version moves faster than this. This sucks. Never played it multiplayer. I just could not get into it, so I kind of went, whatever, I don't need to buy another game in that franchise again. But you start finding games at dirt cheap prices at sometimes. I remember I went to the local GameStop by my work, and they had this there for like $20. And normally Nintendo games don't get discounted very heavily, but for some reason this was. So I was like, well, it is discounted, about half price. Like, okay, fine, I'll pick it up. But I still have not played it because I do not like this series. But, want to get all the games. I like Mario, whatever. And this has, I do believe, it does. It has the amiibo functionality as well. Use the Golden Mario amiibo to get some cool stuff. No. Oh, really? Really? I remember I got this for like $5. I don't remember where, but I think it was Disc Replay. I think I got it used, but it was like $5. Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions. This is like reimaginings of older Namco games. So Galaga now is like an in the cockpit shmup, and Pac-Man I think is kind of like a platformer, but it does have older versions of the games like the Championship edition of Pac-Man. But Galaga Legends, I do believe, is the one that's like a shmup. But it does have standard Galaga on here as well, which is really cool. And I played a little bit of the Galaga, and it's really fun. It's really fun. So, like, that was a really good $5 spent. Let's see here. Next up, we have... I hear this one's not that good. I have not played it. Does it have the stuff inside still? Did I throw it away? I hope not, because that would be stupid. I remember I did turn in the Nintendo Club. I basically got a bunch of Nintendo Club stuff from all of the Nintendo branded things I picked up for this console alone. Like, I have all these posters in the other room and some case or something. I remember I got the Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U soundtrack thing that they had available on the site and something else. But I bought a whole bunch of stuff just from the points I got from buying games on this console. But that is Paper Mario Sticker Star. I hear this one isn't the best game in this franchise, but I have not played it, so I can't comment. But I remember the reviews not being all that great. They're just kind of saying it's okay. And I think Captain Algebra played through this one, if I'm not mistaken, and he said it wasn't all that great either. So I didn't really make an effort to play through it. I want to play through the other ones first. I need to get a copy of the one on the Nintendo 64 because that's the first. Okay, so I bought this because of Johnny Millennium over at Happy Console Gamer. And I just started getting into this franchise. I had bought my first ever game in this series for the DS, and I played it on the 3DS like the moment the 3DS showed up, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. Why did I play this franchise sooner? Never used your points. I think the only thing I got was a Club Nintendo hard colder thingy with a couple of color pens. Yeah, I had like... From the Wii U and the 3DS stuff I was buying, I got so much crap. But I'm not able to use it. I think the only thing I actually have hanging up is I have my Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U poster like right above my head right here that's framed. That's one of the posters I got. A whole bunch of Legend of Zelda stuff in the other room that I want to hang up, but I don't have the place for it. I don't have space. That's good. When I get a bigger place, it'll go up somewhere. But I got a ton of stuff. I picked up this Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth Wild Cards edition, premium edition. And I got this surprisingly discounted on Amazon. I know I could have been doing this the whole time, dude. I just never think to do it. So like I realized like sometimes I'm talking to the chat, but I'm not repeating what is being said in the chat, so it looks like I'm just saying random stuff. This will help alleviate that. Like I said, Johnny Millennium was talking about this like you would not believe. And I do believe this is characters from Persona 3 and 4 in here together. And it's like is this like a standard Persona style RPG? Like with all the character, like the relationship stuff and the demons and all that stuff. I have not played it because I wanted to play through all of the other Persona games I had first, which is why I haven't bought the second game in this franchise, but I already missed out. Because that's probably going to be super expensive to get the special edition of that as well. But I picked this one up off of Amazon, deep discounted. And this comes with some cool stuff like a Persona branded 3DS case. It's kind of cool. I'll never actually use it because why do I need this? Why would I filthy that up and dirty that up when I already have one that's just like a generic black? Were badly manufactured. Some said the cart's corrupt and become unplayable. Ooh, shit. Maybe I should check mine. Also comes with this art book. Which is kind of cool. Is that a character? No, that's not the guy from the original Persona. But I've only played, like, out of all the Shin Megami Tensei games I've played, I've only played Devil Survivor on the DS and the original Persona on my PSP. Also, like the reason it's called the Wild Cards edition is you have like these cards that look like tarot cards. Have not opened those. And a soundtrack with, oh, look at that, a whopping 4 songs and an entire CD. That is awesome. Not really. Thanks, Atlas. Thanks. But I'm glad that I picked this up when I did. I don't know if it was like some sort of an error that they had on the website, because this was still going for full price when I bought it. And then like I just remember I was going through my wish list and I saw that it had been like discounted heavily by, I want to say like 60%, if I remember right. And I was just like, get it while you can. Click. But you can kind of see the gameplay. Yeah, the heroes of Persona 3 and 4 unite. We put that here. And I got the game right here. And I tried it out briefly just to see what it was like. You can see that I didn't even put the cart back correctly. It still like popped out. And it's cool, but I was like, I want to play through the other games in the franchise before I get into that. So I didn't really put any time into it. Got this dirt cheap at that disc replay joint, and that is Pilot Wings Resort. I really liked Pilot Wings on the Super Nintendo. That was one of the first games I bought for that console. And even though there really is no like game to it, like there's no story or anything like that, it's just a bunch of mini games that have to do with flight. I thought it was kind of relaxing and kind of a cool showcase of what the Super Nintendo can do when it comes to the Mode 7 and all that. And I was like, this is actually really fun. The music was really good and like relaxing. Like I said, it was just a real cool wind down game. Like if I had a bad day at school or work, I would come home and I'd play that for about 45 minutes and I'd be like, I'm good. Although I did not like the Nintendo 64 one at all. I absolutely hated it. But I was willing to give this one a shot because it looks like they're using Mii's like on the Wii. So I picked it up and it was dirt cheap, and it looks like it has a lot of the same like mini games as the Super Nintendo one, plus some from the N64 game. But I have not tried it, which is sad. But I got it dirt cheap, like I said, so I wasn't going to pass that up. This one I found at Walmart, and I went there looking for just the game. I did not realize that it had like a limited edition version, but I saw it sitting there, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I guess I'll get that instead. And it was not much more expensive than the standard standalone version, and that is the limited edition of Project X Zone. And the reason I wanted to get this is the collaboration between Bandai Namco, Sega, and Capcom. And it's like an action, it's like a tactical RPG, if I remember right. And you have characters from like all of these franchises from those 3 companies all in one. And you're like running through the world, and you end up encountering them, having a couple of conversations with them, and then you end up either fighting them or they fight alongside you. Project Cross Zone, Project X Zone. Oh yeah, Cross, I can see that. And they made a sequel to this also. And what makes this the limited edition, it actually comes with quite a bit of stuff in this small last box. One of which is this official visual book. Why you can just say art book? Why I gotta be so different? Being edgelords and shit. All the different characters. So like some of the characters that are in it that you would recognize are, see, those are people I don't know. No. Jin Kazama and Ling Xiaoyu from Tekken. I don't know who they are. Don't know who they are. Dante from Devil May Cry. Dimitri and Morgan from Darkstalkers. And Senko from Darkstalkers. You got Frank West from Dead Rising. Zero and X from Mega Man X. Come on. Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine from Resident Evil. Chun-Li and Ken from Street Fighter. And Ryu. And on Sega's end, you've got, I think, some characters from Valkyrie Profile or Valkyrie, Valkyrie whatever. Ulala from Space Channel 5. Sakura Shinguji from Sakura Wars. I don't know who they are. Residents of Fate. Okay, there's characters from Residents of Fate. I didn't realize. Shining Force. And Pai and Akira from Virtua Fighter. That's pretty cool. It continues the Namco X Capcom or Cross Capcom story. I'm not sure about what is that. Was that the fighting game? When he fought Lord Raptor from Darkstalkers on the ship from Dynamite Cop, I squealed like a little girl. I don't think I got that far. I played it for like a good hour, and I was like, "Okay, that's pretty cool," and just never went back to it. Like usual, it comes with a poster. Whew, I'm starting to get lightheaded. I need to eat something. And a soundtrack that has a lot of stuff on it. You have tracks from like other games in here, plus the ones that are made exclusively for the game on this soundtrack CD, which is pretty rad. But I need to play through it some more. And they made it, like I said, they made a sequel, and I never bought it because I'm like, well, I should probably probably play through the first one, and I never did. But there you go. But I thought it was a really cool, clever thing. I was really excited about it when it first came out. I just never went any further with it. It was a PS2 Japan exclusive where the Fox girl and her partner in Project Cross Zone originated from. Okay, so that makes a little bit of sense because I was wondering who the hell they were. Well, we're Highlight Comments Tonight fan. Like I said, I could have been doing this for years, bro. Years. I just realized I could have been doing it. I was always wondering how like Retro Rivals, when they were doing the how to get to know gamer stuff, like how they were doing it. I'm like, oh, I just had to click on the comment. By the way, welcome, Peter. Then the story continued in Endless Frontier on the DS. Then Project Cross Zone and concludes in Project Cross Zone 2. I need to get Project Cross Zone 2. There you go. There's something for me to look forward to or look for. Okay, another Way Forward game. This is another did they have like a thing going on with Cartoon Network at some point in time? They had a contract because like they were making nothing but games for these like Cartoon Network shows. Never watched this one either, so I know nothing about the characters, which is why I haven't dove into it. But it's Way Forward, so I had to have it. That's regular show, Mordecai and Rigby in 8-bit land. And it looks like a platformer like Mega Man. So that's kind of rad. The fact that it's like a throwback 8-bit game is kind of cool to me. But like I said, I have no idea who these characters are and what they're all about since I've never watched an episode. At least I've seen a couple of episodes of Adventure Time. I've never seen an episode of regular show. So Way Forward, like I said, there was just a point in time where I did a search on Google. I was like, list all the Way Forward games. And I just started buying them when I would find them. Didn't care if I actually wanted them or not. This one I have not played because it is still sealed. Probably should play it because it looks pretty freaking awesome. And I think it's a multiplayer game, or is it part of Part 5? Exclusive. Contains demo of Resident Evil Revelations. Well, Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. All it says on the back, it doesn't even have like a real like screenshot. It just says the war on horror has begun. Armies of terrifying enemies. You're seconds away from being overwhelmed. Combat evil through single player or co-op missions. I think it's supposed to be sort of related to Resident Evil 5, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, I have not played it. It's still sealed. So I have not. And I think I got this at Midwest Gaming Classic. I think me and Church were looking for it at the same Midwest Gaming Classic. And I was like, I want to get it because it sounds kind of fun. And I think it was because it was like kind of based off of the multiplayer, the co-op thing from Resident Evil 5. And then like me and Church were talking about like, oh, maybe we'll play it together. No, that didn't happen. Okay, next up we have another. Well, one is sealed and one isn't. So I remember I was in LA visiting my brother. This was like Christmas time. And like I went onto Amazon on my phone because like I think I woke up way too early one morning and nobody was awake. So like I went and took a shower, went back in the living room, sat on the couch, and I started like surfing my phone, and Amazon had like pre-orders for this available. And I was just like, oh shit. And I got the same one over here. But this is the one that I haven't opened yet, but that is River City Rival Showdown. It's still sealed. It has the keychain inside, and you can tell. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I can tell by holding it. There is a bulge right here in the center where the keychain is, because I just think they threw it in here and shut it up and sealed it. But these are like pseudo RPG light beat 'em ups. You know, these are spin-offs or like continuations of the old NES game, River City Ransom. and I was kind of happy that they were continuing on with the series. But I have not played that one, but I have played a little bit of the other one, which is River City Tokyo Rumble. And this one came with a keychain as well. I opened this one because I really wanted to play it, and it has Kunio-kun doing his, I guess it's a roundhouse. And I really want the NES game. I really want to find a copy of that. Hang on a second. Show it. There we go. If it has some value, I'll probably get rid of it because I don't know when I'm going to get around to actually playing these games. But I would actually like to keep it because I do like River City Ransom, and I would like to have the subset, so I probably won't sell it. But yeah, more of the same. And now we're getting the River City Girls games on the PS4 and 5, which are developed by WayForward. Yay, yay. So I did not know that this franchise made a comeback until, and then I brought it up with Jason at one point too because I found this. But on my lunch break at work, it was like a dead day at work. We didn't have anything going on, so our boss was kind of like, "If you want to take a longer lunch, do it. Like, I'm not going to say anything as long as the work is done by the end of the day. I don't care." So I went to a kind of an out of the way restaurant for lunch, and on the way back there was like this GameStop I didn't realize was there. And it was like because it's kind of hidden from the direction I'm traveling to get to the restaurant. But on the way back, you see it. And I was like, oh, this is a GameStop. Let's go over there and check it out. I have time. And I found this, and I kind of lost my shit when I saw it. I was like, where did this come from? Why was there not more fanfare? Like, I don't know. Like, I need this. And then I contacted Jason from Corpse Flood when I found it and was like, dude, look at this shit. If this has what I think it has on it, because it says you can share on it, we need to start doing this for each other. I was not talking a circle jerk or anything like that. This is game related, guys. Get your heads out of the gutter. It's only worth $30, so I'll keep it. I was going to keep it anyway, Peter. That's RPG Maker FES or FES or whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't even know what that means. I know that there's the Persona 3. There's like a second version of Persona 3 on the PS2 that's got like Persona 3 FES or whatever it is. I don't know what it stands for or what it means. But this is like RPG Maker. Like, it has a built-in game in here already, but it gives you all of the materials you need to make your own, and you can share it with other 3DS owners that have the game. So me and Jason immediately started talking about, hey, like, you make a game, and I'll make a game, and then we'll trade games, and then we'll review the other person's game on our channels. How about that? And then, like, right after I found this, they announced the new game in the series that was coming out for, like, the PS4 and the Xbox One. And we're like, forget that. We'll just do it on that console. I'm like, great. Now I have this. And just like the older games in this franchise that I had, because I thought I had a complete subset when it came to RPG Maker. Turned out I didn't. This is not completely worthless, because why would I play this when I can play the one on the PlayStation 4? Anyway... I love that idea. I love that idea. Like these Mario Maker, RPG Maker, Fighter Maker. I love the idea of that. That Super Famicom game that I have that's basically a shmup maker. Like, I love that kind of, like Mario Paint. Out of all of the games I have on my Super Nintendo, or at least that I had back in the day, I want to say the game that got some of the most play from me outside of ActRaiser or Super Castlevania 4 or like Contra 3 was Mario Paint. Like, I used that for everything. Fest is short for festival. Good to know. I didn't I learned something new every day. Didn't know what that meant. It's a festival edition? Is it like a special edition? What is it? Like, when it comes to Persona 3, what is that supposed to represent for that? I'm just curious. I'm not talking shit. I'm just actually curious. So, like, I love those create your own game type of games within a game. You game? Picked this one up at Midwest Gaming Classic, like when it was still in the tents. And that is Samurai Warriors Chronicles. So it's a standalone Samurai Warriors game, but it works on this console. So it's a little bit tamed down. 3DS can't really handle like 300 soldiers on the battlefield, but it is one of those, what are they, Musou style games or Musu style games. It's just been toned down a little bit. It's not as crazy as the console versions are, because this thing can't really handle that if it wanted to. But they did release some interesting versions of Musou games on this console, which sadly I don't own. I think one of the next things I'm going to do is try to get the one other one that I think came out for this console. There's a couple on the Switch, and there was one that came out on this console I need to pick up. Talking about Hyrule Warriors. This I picked up dirt cheap at the exchange, the disc replay one day, and I was just kind of like, oh, cool, $5. All right, I'll buy it. And it was like, it's by Sega. Sure, why not? I'll buy anything from Sega. Hang on a second. Persona 3 Fest most slowly adds an entire playable epilogue starring Aegis as the player character. Okay, but what does the festival have to do with it? Like, what's the point of calling it festival? Was it released in tandem with a festival of some sort? I'm just curious. I just want to know. It's this knowledge I want in my brain. What this ended up being is a bunch of like reimagined arcade games and Genesis games by Sega reimagined in 3D. So it's the Sega 3D Classics collection, and it has Power Drift, Puyo Puyo 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Altered Beast, Fantasy Zone something, Galaxy Force 2, Fantasy Zone 2, Maze Waller, and I cannot even read that. It is so weird font. Such a weird font. Altered Beast. It's a bunch of mini games, like I said, and they're just like made to work with the 3D capability of the console. And it is pretty freaking rad. I absolutely loved it. I played this so much, and I ended up talking about it in one of my shorts. It is super fun, especially playing like Galaxy, is it Force? Yeah, Galaxy Force 2 was that, and Altered Beast was, I think, the most fun I had when it came to this. And Power Drift was kind of cool too. I never saw a Power Drift arcade cabinet back in the day. Maybe we didn't get it over here. Maybe it was a Japanese exclusive. I don't know. But playing those in 3D, I thought was absolutely amazing. I thought it worked so well. So I highly recommend picking this one up because I think it's dirt cheap. I can only Google so much. Sorry, Peter. What's up, Stubby? I first thought it was Fez, as in the hat. Ah, yeah, see? I thought almost the same thing. And then I was like, oh, that's an S. I was like, what does that even mean? Is this the one that I bought from? Yeah, it is. No, yes. Yes? Yes. Okay, so I bought this on eBay. The rabbit is Professor Asbin, Sega's first mascot. The rabbit? Rabbit? Oh, on the back. Okay, I got you. See, that's knowledge I want in my brain. So I bought this off of eBay. I bought it, like I was home that day. I think it was like I had the day off. I think it was a Friday. I bought this on eBay. It was like $10. And I bought it. And then I was like, okay, in like a week it'll show up, whatever. And I left. I went to go and get my lunch. I remember I drove pretty decently down the street to go and get a burger. And I was gone for maybe 45 minutes. And I came back with it to eat. And when I came back, there was a package in my mailbox. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. I don't remember ordering anything that would be here already. Weird. Okay, so I grab it, come home, eat my burger, I'm watching some television, and then I kind of glance over my kitchen table. TJ's been in my place. He knows where my recliner is. I look over at the kitchen table. I'm like, what is that? Open it up, and it was this. The game that I just paid for like an hour and a half ago on eBay, sitting in my mailbox. So what happened? How did it get to me that fast? Well, turns out the place I bought this from was a pawn shop about a block away. They had put up a bunch of games that they had in stock, and I guess other stuff too, up for sale on eBay. And when they looked up my shipping address, then they Googled it on Google Maps, and they're like, that dude lives right down the street. They're just like, all right, just go over there and drop it off in his mailbox. And that's exactly what they did. They did it while I was out getting a burger. And it shocked the hell out of me. It's kind of scared me too. But this is, I do believe, like a puzzle platformer that's all about, it kind of looks to me like Exit on the PSP, but just all in black and white. So it's like a puzzle platformer, a little bit like Explosion Man and stuff like that. So I haven't really played it all that much. I don't even remember really if I did. So I can't really comment. This is another one. So this was one of those big special editions I thought I had completely missed out on because I didn't pre-order it. And then like I waited on it too long. And this was like this franchise. I was trying to get all the games in the series, but there's so many and there's a lot of them are expensive. And I was just like, I think I missed out. I probably will. If I get this game, it's just going to be the game itself, like the little snap case and the game, and I'm not going to get that limited edition version. And I want to say like a year after it came out, maybe like a year and a half after it came out, I went to my local half-price books, and this is when my half-price books by my work was awesome, and they were always getting new game stuff that was fantastic for great prices. I happened to walk up there, and I was just like, I think they might have just put this out that day. And I saw it sitting there in the limited edition version, and I went like, oh, you are mine. And the funny thing was, this was not in the video game section. I remember clearly, yes, I went to the movie section, and I was looking at the Blu-rays, and this was sitting in with the VHS tapes. And I think it was because of the way the box is shaped, somebody must have thought it was a VHS tape, even though it says Nintendo 3DS on the side. And I was like, I'm going to take that before they realize what it is. And that is Shin Megami Tensei 4, this like limited edition big-ass box version. And it comes with this gigantic freaking strategy and design book. I mean, look at this thick boy. God freaking damn. And the thing is that this is like open on this. There's no flap to close on this. This is wide open. I'm surprised this stuff did not fall out at some point. But we actually still have the music soundtrack that it came with. And this has 8 tracks on it. Some of them are pretty long. So I'm not upset about that. So when I found it sitting there with the VHS tapes, I was just kind of like, oh shit. Like, get it now. Because I did not, as I said, I completely missed out on this. And we have the game itself right here. And I have not played this because when it comes to the numbered Shin Megami Tensei games, we got this one, we got Nocturne, which is part 3. The only place I think that part 1 and 2 came out was either on the Famicom or the Super Famicom. I have a Super Famicom version of the first one. Yeah, I have a Super Famicom reproduction of the first game because I think it's a remake of the Famicom game. But like it was Famicom, then PlayStation 2, 3DS, and now the Switch has part 5. But it looks pretty freaking rad. But I have not played it because I've not played through the other ones. So there's that. But I was super happy that I found that. Which leads us to another one in the franchise. That is Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker. And I found this at that same half-price books, but this was actually in the game section. Haven't played this one either, but I did find the limited edition version. The bonus set, I guess, with the outer box. And this comes with a bunch of decals, which I'm never going to use in a million years because I am not 12 years old. And a soundtrack that has 4 tracks on it. Cool. I love Shin Megami Tensei. I think it's a really interesting franchise that's just spun off in all these different directions. And it's been going on since the Famicom days. I mean, shit, there's even one on the Sega CD in Japan. I cannot tell you how many games are in this franchise because there's so many of them. But super thrilled to get that because this was another one that I thought I was going to miss out on. I didn't pre-order it or buy it when it first came out. I found this at half-price books, and it still came with that outer box, which thrills the hell out of me. Next up, we have an augmented reality game. This was one of the first games I bought for the console, and that is Spirit Camera. It's got a subtitle, The Cursed Mirror, I guess. And this was like another one of those like showcase games for the console to show you what it can do, because it had the cameras on it and stuff like that, and it can do augmented reality. What you're supposed to do is the game will tell you about this book that comes with it, which is like supposedly the manual, and it'll say, hey, like go through the pages, go to this page, so you'll see like this image, and to you it looks like absolutely nothing. But if you were to aim the camera on the 3DS at it, you'll see like this 3D hand come shooting out of the book towards you, and the game is telling you the story, and it's like, oh, now go to this page and look at this picture, and then something will happen with the picture. It's not really a game. It's kind of like more like you're watching an interactive movie, but it's kind of cool. I mean, I can get with it. I thought it was kind of neat the way it worked. I didn't get through it all the way, but I probably should, because it's probably take a half an hour to beat. But it looks like it has your typical Japanese ghost stuff. You got the ring kid and the woman from The Grudge in it and all that kind of stuff. So, sure, why not? That'd be a good game to play for Halloween. I had to pick this one up because I hate the game on the Nintendo 64, and that's the remake of Star Fox 64 3D. And I think this is a huge improvement over the DS, the 64 version. I mean, like the 64 version, it's okay. It's fine, whatever. I just hate that controller. Playing it on the 3DS, I think, is my preferred way, and the 3D is pretty freaking fantastic. And this actually has some extra modes. It has you can use the gyroscope in the 3DS to move, or you have your traditional controls, and it has a 4-player mode, which is pretty fantastic. And I love me some Star Fox. I think this is definitely my preferred way to play that game. And I found that at GameStop, I want to say. This was the first game I bought for the 3DS when I made the decision I was going to get this console. And I talked about it in a short. I convinced Captain Algebra to buy it. I absolutely love this game. I think this is also a pretty awesome use of not only the 3D that the console does, but also the gyroscope that's inside of it. And that is Steel Diver. So this is like a first-party Nintendo game. And for the most part, it is like a side-scrolling submarine shmup. And it's really fun, like really, really fun. And you have to worry about the gauges, about your depth and all that kind of stuff. And like, release the air so you can raise up to the, to the surface level and all that. But then you have the periscope shooter levels. And that's where the 3D and the gyroscope, I think, really take off, because I'm glad that I'm sitting in a chair that swivels, because I'd be playing it with the 3DS like this, and whenever I wanted to look around, I had to literally do this. And it was freaking immersive as hell. And the 3D helps. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, super fun and creative. Took advantage of everything this console does. Like I said, if you don't have a copy of Steel Diver and you have a 3DS, go and get a copy. It's dirt freaking cheap. It is freaking amazing, and it is super fun. I will talk about that game until the day I die. And I'm sad to say that this is not one that came with the manual, because this is kind of late in the life cycle, I guess. But, they want to do a port of the game, but it can't handle the complete game because it's on the Wii U. But we got a pseudo port of Super Mario 3D World and as Super Mario 3D Land. So it's what that game is, but just dialed back a little bit, because this is not a freaking Wii U. This is a GameCube we're talking about here in your hand. And I absolutely love Super Mario 3D World. I did that video, that short, that was all about my favorite Mario games, and 3D World was one of them. This could have been put in there as well, because it is super freaking fun. Way better than I think the new Super Mario Brothers games are. I wish we continue with the 3D Land, 3D World games, but now we're on the Odysseys, which is fine. I like Odyssey just fine. I think it's great. But this 3D World and Land, I think, are some of my favorite Mario games. I highly recommend those. I'm pretty sure everybody has a copy of that. And of course, everybody that had a 3DS had Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS and the Wii U at the same time. And sure, I spent all my time unlocking all the characters on the Wii U version, and then I did it all over again for the 3DS, because I want to play this on the go. I want to have everything available to me, and that's exactly what I did. And it's a fun multiplayer fighting game, multi-character fighting game, and there's some cool characters to unlock, and some specific things you need to do to unlock certain ones, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but whatever. But Smash Brothers, the formula really has not changed since the N64 version, which I'm not really a fan of, which was pretty obvious if you were at that party at Mo GameCon at the Airbnb when I tried playing it, and I absolutely sucked at it. But super, super fun. I think I played this more than the Wii U version, honestly, because it was on the go. I brought it to work with me all the time. People at work were trying to play like the wireless multiplayer with me. I don't think we got it to work. Picked this one up pretty late in collecting, but I was glad that I was able to get it with this slip cover. And that is Super Street Fighter 2 3D Edition. And I was really curious what a fighting game like Street Fighter would work like on, or play like on the 3DS, because the Nintendo, the 3DS only has the 4 face buttons, and then you have the shoulder buttons and all that. So it's like playing it on the Super Nintendo. Well, it's fine, doesn't really replicate the arcade with the 6 buttons on the front, but playing it on the PlayStation and the Xbox and all that is the same kind of thing. No one has those 6-button controller things anymore. So I was and also am I going to wear out the controls on my 3DS because of the way I play these types of games, where I can get kind of rough with the controls when I'm trying to do moves and stuff like that. So I was kind of cautious, but I eventually found it, and it works great. It is super, super fun. And the cool thing is I found the 3D version that comes with a slip case that is lenticular, so you can kind of see Ryu moving back and forth, his fist moves a little bit, and all the characters in the background in 3D. I was super happy to find it with that. And it works pretty great. Why couldn't we get a Mortal Kombat 3D game? Would have been great. A 3D Tekken game I probably would have bought, even though I don't like Tekken, because this works so well. So anyway, got this for $2. I don't remember where I found this. I think this was at Half Price Books, and it was in their discount section, the clearance section. The Tetris Axis. Gotta have at least one Tetris game for a handheld console if you have one. I mean, come on, starting off with the Game Boy. Gotta have a Tetris game because, puzzle games are just a fun time waster, and I love me some Tetris. Haven't tried this one yet, though, because I got it for $2 and haven't really had time to try it out. But I love me some Tetris. I'm not going to pass one up if I see it dirt cheap. Got this one at Black Friday, the first Black Friday after when I had gotten back into collecting. So I got back into it December, I think, of 2013. So we're talking the following year. So this is 2014. I had just gotten a PS4, and it was my brother came to visit from LA for Thanksgiving. And normally I don't go out to do Black Friday shopping. I usually do it all online. But since my brother was in town, we're at my mother's house hanging out with her, and she was just kind of I kind of want to see what's going on the sales. And I was I could just look it up online. And she's I'm not putting my credit card number online. You can eat a dick. I want to go to the store. So we went to Best Buy, and I wasn't opposed to it. I'm oh, cool. I'll find some sales on some games. We went late in the afternoon. We went probably around 4:30 in the afternoon. We had already eaten dinner. It was basically a halfway between lunch and dinner. And we did it after that. And then we went and saw a movie afterwards. But the thing was, it was I walked in there and I was all these games. I got Bayonetta on the Wii U. I got Diablo 3 on the PS4. I got a couple of PS3 games. I think one of them was the complete edition of BioShock Infinite, and I think Binary Domain on the PS3, and this. And that is Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy Curtain Call. There's another version that has even more songs on this, because this is a rhythm game with all Final Fantasy music. And the cool thing is as you're playing the song, one of the characters from the game the song is from is usually walking around or walking along underneath the game field. And it's it looks kind of like a waveform, and it has peaks and valleys, and you have to hit the buttons at certain times. And as you're doing that, they'll be fighting characters or something like that as you're to the beat. And it's kind of cool the way it works. I really, really liked it. Didn't beat it though, but I should. But there's multiple versions of these. I think the final version of Theater Rhythm came out for the Switch, and I think Captain Algebra beat that not too long ago, and I need to pick that up. There is a Tekken 3D. It's a bit bare bones, but it exists. I might look that up just to have it. See, I'm enabling myself. I bring up something, and somebody tells me it exists. I'm going to go buy it now. But I love my rhythm games. Had to have that, and I got it dirt cheap. But the version that I got is actually the, I guess it's like the limited edition version. So it came in a big outer box. And since it's a rhythm game, what does it come with? Pretty sure you can guess. Came with the soundtrack. It has, out of all the music in this game, does it even say, I probably won't be able to read it, how many tracks it has? 221 songs and over 60 characters from Final Fantasy games. 221 songs on this goddamn thing. I'm about to end anyway, dude. So that's great. So, but thanks for stopping by, Stubby. I really appreciate it. Glad to see you. This CD sampler only has 5 tracks on it out of 221 tracks that are on the damn game. That's some bullshit. But the remixes of the tracks from all the Final Fantasy games that are in it are pretty fantastic. I absolutely love it. Super fun game franchise. Sad to see that they ended it. And the last game I'm going to talk about here, I found at that disc replay, and I was kind of surprised that this did not have. Normally, the ones that are the 3DS games that were made by Nintendo, whenever I would find them at that disc replay, they had that fake artwork I was talking about earlier. And I was really thankful that when I found this, it didn't have that. That is Yoshi's New Island, which is, I guess, a remake or a sequel to Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. It just says, hey, new adventure, same extraordinary Yoshi. So the whole thing is like you got Baby Mario on your back. Your weapon is you like gather up eggs and you use them as projectiles. And if you get hit, Baby Mario falls off and cries excruciatingly loud and annoyingly until you grab him and put him back on your back. It sucks. But I loved the game itself. If it wasn't for the Mario screaming thing, I probably would love it even more. But I was trying to get a copy of this when it was new, and it was always too expensive. I'm like, I don't think I want to pay $45 for that. And then found this at disc replay, like for half off. And I was like, I'll take it now. And it did not have that fake artwork. So super thrilled about that. And that is it. That is my entire 3DS collection. I know a lot of the consoles I've been talking about have been multiple streams over multiple nights because my collection is so big. Well, like I said, I don't have a huge 3DS collection. I collected more, like I ended up focusing up more on the DS than the 3DS, which is, I ended up playing the DS stuff more than anything else. I had years and years and years of games to catch up on, and since this was the new console at the time, I was taking full advantage of the fact that it was backwards compatible, and I focused more on the stuff that I had missed for all those years. But now I think I should start trying to get a few more games for the console, like we said, the Tekken and a couple of others. So I'm going to definitely look into that. Next week, I'll probably be back with my Vita collection. So TJ, you better start talking from the start, buddy. I don't have a massive collection for that either. So that'll be a one-off as well. And then we'll get into the big consoles like the PS4, which is probably going to need 20 streams because I have so many PS4 games. Xbox One, I can probably do in 2. We got the Wii U, I can probably do in 1. And then we move on to PS5 and Switch and all that. Oh, I'll be there for that. I know you will. I don't nearly have the collection you do. Not even close. But I have mostly like limited run stuff. But we'll see. We'll talk about it next week. How about that? So be back next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central for my PS Vita collection stream. I'll be back tomorrow with a review of Saw 10 for a short. I'm going to record it right after I finish tonight and have some dinner. And then I'm going to film a couple of shorts for that. And one of them is going to be my review of Saw 10. And then I will be back next Thursday with the next stream. So thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I love chit-chatting with people now that I know that I can do this, put the chat on the screen thing so people can see what I'm responding to. Like that, like TJ saying, like, I'll be there for that. I mean, I hate the Vita. Why would you attend that? I mean, I know, right? Like next Thursday. I'll be there. I'll talk to you all then. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to you later. Chris from Midlife Crisis Media out.